So I read a book about Stockholm Syndrome. At the beginning, I fucking hated it, but by the time I got to the end, I loved it. You know, what's it called? What's it? Yeah, well, it takes a second to sink in. What's it called when Batman skips church? Christian Bale. There you go. I should have a little symbol, little rim shot.
Yeah, you should.
I should do, really. I should get that in. I'm playing around with my jingles. There you go, missus.
They were.
Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Black Dog podcast, version 2, episode 72. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Elton.
And this week, yes, the most unpopular segment in our entire calendar has come around once again for all of those people who do not like horror films. Yes, it is. It is the Indeterminate Weeks of Horror that run throughout October and sometimes off into the middle of November, and occasionally we make it all the way to Christmas. But we will be doing that with this week's choice, which was Jim, who went in strong with
Paranormal Activity.
Yes, a.k.a. fuck you, Jim. I think we can all say that from the bottom of our hearts.
Oh, I mean it, definitely. Yes. Oh, so much so. Jim.
Yes. So we'll be getting to that soon enough to have a little discussion about that. And then we'll find out what Darren's one is, because it's his choice for the next week's film. And but before we get to all of that, and now that I can hear Darren's shock in his voice, I'd already know that he's suddenly launching into Amazon going, oh, fuck!
Yep. That clicking sound you hear is not the frantic spin of my mouse wheel at all.
Fucking hell.
I can't find nothing!
H-O-R-R. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to all of that soon enough. But first, let's find out how everyone's week's been. And we will start off with you, Jim, actually. See how it's been, sir. How has your week been, sir?
The last 2 days have been pretty much wet. It's definitely autumn now. It's pissing down all the time.
Yep.
I'm officially out of central eating chicken.
Yep.
That ship sailed now.
I think mine sailed in August.
Take out a bank loan to pay the gas bill. Fuck it.
Yep. That's it. Yeah, yeah. It's now into bank account chicken, because it's what's going to run out first, the heating or the bank account paying for it.
Well, the way that they're hiking up the prices, I think we need a concerted campaign to people saying, "Fuck you, we're not paying that."
Yeah.
Don't you plead poverty to us, you cunts. We see you crowing on the news every quarter about how much shareholders made. Fuck off.
Yeah, this is rapidly turning into a political podcast, isn't it? I mean, every week we get to this bit. Yeah,
but anyway, to pull it back from a meeting at the dock style rant, it was a year ago today. Our little doggy came home forever.
Hey. Congratulations! An October
and she
pup.
celebrated by refusing to go out in the rain.
Well,
until she absolutely had to about 8 o'clock. So.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
My clothes are now drying on a radiator. I'm in my gym jams.
Oh, yeah.
And she's sulking on the tail going, I'm a wet dog. I don't like being wet.
My bladder is relieved, but I'm still damp.
Yes.
Yeah. I am a happy dog and yet a sad dog. Yeah. Oh, well, congratulations and happy birthday to the dog.
Well, it's a happy homecoming, really. It was
I suppose. Yeah. I always remember as a kid, you used to get the pet, and when the day you got the pet, that was the pet's birthday, regardless of anything else. It was always like, yep. Yes, okay, so the pet is like 72 and barely alive. But you know what? It's its first birthday, because I brought it home today. Come on, don't tell me I'm the only one who's done that. Anyway, cool. Okie dokie. So, anything else, sir?
No, other than that, I think I'll leave it at that.
Oh,
other than that, we found they have the entire Horrible Histories on BBC iPlayer now. So
yeah.
working my way through those.
It's so good.
I've seen it sporadically down the years, but it's nice actually to you can just have a couple of episodes to start the evening.
I tell you what, if you like that, once the main crew leave, because there's like a sort of main set of players, and then they completely replace them around about season 10. That's how long I've been watching. Then jump off of that and go and watch BBC's Ghosts.
Oh yes, we have watched Ghosts. Yeah,
yes. Which is very good. I like that. So it's well worth a look.
Very much the modern day Ghosts of Motley Hall.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the one I was after. That's exactly it. Brilliant. Ghosts of Motley Hall. Jesus. Yeah, I knew I remembered it. I knew the concept from somewhere, but it's well worth a look. It's brilliant. It's great fun. Cool. Okay, then. Well, there you go. Horrible Histories. Definitely check that out. Although, like I say, check it out while there was still the original cast of 7. Once it go and they're still doing non-copyright infringing homages of songs. As opposed to just people just wandering on later on. If the gags come down to, hello, I'm William Shakespeare, and I'm here to tell you something, you're on the wrong crew. Just leave them guys behind. It's a waste of time. But anyway, cool. Okay, well then let's move on then to you, Elton. How's it been, sir?
It's been going all right. I have been moseying through TV programs. And only 2, really. I hope you let me indulge very briefly in these 2. I have been reacquainted with The Walking Dead.
Okie dokie.
It's on its last season at the moment, and it's all been moved over to Disney because Disney want your buck for
don't they just?
Yes.
To watch all that sort of stuff. And so it's not on Fox on Sky anymore or anything like that. I don't even think there's like a Fox channel. Is there? Is there a Fox channel?
No, they bought it up and it became part of Stars. I guess you get the FX channel, which is Fox.
But you can't get that on terrestrial or cable or anything like that, can you?
I don't know, actually. It's so much of it's sort of been disseminated into things like Sky Atlantic and Hulu and all those other little bits and broken up. But
yeah, it's all very confusing. But
Stars is basically where Fox's content has mainly gone, though, as far as I can tell.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all over there now, and I know there's a bit of a hoo-ha about that because people that have spent 10 years diving into this and keeping up with it, all of a sudden, the final season, we have to pay for Disney. So, unfortunately, we're already paying for Disney, which is a bit of a ball ache, but, I don't get a say in that, do I?
No one gets a say in Disney. Disney comes around to your house.
Why would I get a say in that? I don't get a say in that. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I have had quite a bit of a break from it. I think I slowly bowed out of it mid-season 10 or start of season 10. I'm not too sure when it was, but I think something happened to Rick, and then it flash forward a little while, and then I just slowly stopped recording it and stopped watching it, and it was my background TV watching for quite some time. But I've been reacquainted with it, really enjoying it. It's cheesy as anything. It's not getting any better.
No.
There are moments which really work, but I just want to complete it now. That's it. Yeah, I know there's more spin-offs and stuff, but I think
do you think it's your tolerance for things like Lost that have let you strengthened your drama muscles to go through this, knowing that there's no real decent end in sight?
Oh, Lost was definitely a stretch. That was a workout and a half. That was. No, I am fully committed to this, and I have told thousands of people I am fully committed to this, and I'm going to work my way through it. And I do enjoy popping back to Lost every now and again. I think during the lockdowns, I hit the first and second seasons, but I haven't really bounced back to it just yet. So, season 3 is one of my favourites, so I think I'm waiting for sunny days again, and then I will hit that and enjoy season 3 onwards. But
Okay.
yeah, it definitely changed the way I watch TV. I know that. But then there's only like 6 seasons of that. But they're like 25 episodes a pop. Definitely the first 3 anyway.
In BBC seasons, that's like 25.
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who ever thought of doing like a 24 episode season? That's incredible. You'd never get that past directors anymore. That would never happen.
Yeah, not since Netflix came along and just said do 10 and always have everything happen at episodes 1, 2, 6 and 8 and then 10.
Yeah. HBO have 9. Episode 9 is where all shit goes down.
Yep. That's it.
But yeah, it's good. I'm still enjoying it, and yeah, I do want to see it through. The other one was a program. I hope I'm not treading on anyone's feet. Called Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone heard of this?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of it. I've seen the iconography of those guys with the PlayStation masks.
Uh-huh.
Well, I call them PlayStation masks.
Yeah.
And with the triangle and the square and the diamond and whatever.
Oh, they are, yeah. Otherwise they'd have A and B on there, wouldn't they?
Well, exactly. And then there'd be Xbox masks. And then, yeah.
And nobody wants them. Nobody wants them.
No, who the fuck wants one of them? Yeah. Anyway, don't start
Fuck
that.
off.
Don't start that. My Commodore 64 is better than your ZX Spectrum. Anyway, yeah, come on. So I haven't actually watched this thing yet.
Okay, I heard about this, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's on a Facebook group, something about crazy movies or whatever it was, and the way it was pitched was it was a movie, and I was like, oh, bank that because that would be good for Crazy Month, whatever it was.
Batshit Crazy Movie Month.
Batshit Crazy Month, yeah, something like that. I banked it, and then I looked into it, and it's a series. Oh, that's a bit disappointing. But I started watching it, and all of a sudden I found myself 4 episodes into it. And it's like Takeshi's Castle, but turned up to like 11. And the actual story is, it's very. If it was a movie, you'd be saying, that it's too fast paced, it's too crazy, it's too over the top, and you'll never ever watch it again. But because it's a series, they draw it out a little bit, and you develop characters in it, and I'm quite enjoying it actually.
Yeah,
I haven't finished it. I'm just about to hit the 3rd trial. But it's got something in it. And do you know what? I've been watching the dubbed version as well. And I don't mind the dub on it.
really. It hasn't got lots of people going, so, what is this? I'm going to the shops. What? The shops? Yes, I'm going to have some carrots.
Be careful you don't get shot. Ha ha. Watch out for the bullets. Ha ha.
Are you looking for me? I've got a biscuit barrel.
Have you heard of kombucha? No, what is kombucha?
Exactly.
It is an ancient recipe taught by this old man over here with the long white beard. Mr. Cliche.
When you learn to peel bowls of rice with your own fingers, you will get through and you will be a master of something. Kabrtwoo-ha.
Anyway, before we get cancelled totally.
Oh, we're 211th in Thailand, mate. I got the fucking stats.
That's true, yeah.
Nobody can beat us now.
The dub is a bit over the top, but I'm quite enjoying it.
Is it working?
It's not as over the top as what you would expect.
Right.
And so it's not, as you guys have just demonstrated, not quite like that.
Not quite Dogtanian and the 4 Moscow Hounds.
No.
Yeah, loses something in translation.
Just a touch.
You know?
You know, it's working for me. But yeah, it's yet to. I'm wondering if it will pull it off at the very end. If it will be incredible, as everyone has been saying. I also came home and my daughter had started watching it, and my boy came in the other day and went, "Oh, you watching that? Oh, you went, yeah. Why is everyone else watching? Oh, yeah, everyone's watching that. Everyone's watching it." I was like, don't like to be up to date with everyone like that. That's not good. But yeah.
Just as a little bit of info on this, by the way, talking about popularity, the show is actually, shall we say, in trouble twice, right?
Right.
One is, well, you know, quite rightly so. It's been putting actual active telephone numbers up on bits of the episodes where they're dialing numbers to a character. There's one
really?
bloke. Yeah, there's one bloke. I think he's in Korea, who keeps getting calls morning, noon, and night. Right? He goes, "This is terrible. It runs down the battery on my phone, and it keeps going off when I really need it." So there's that. He's literally on his knees, crying his eyes out, pleading with him to change his number.
Nice.
So there's that. But and this is the other one that I don't quite understand, right? And I think this is just a company trying just to get money out of Netflix for a really. It's like, you know, those people who tried to sue McDonald's because they became overweight from eating like the same food every single day. Right, it's a bit like that, right? This claim, and it is it's one of the networks in, I think it's in Korea. Is trying to sue Netflix because the show is popular.
What?
And it's sucking. Yeah, this is what I thought. I thought, stop being a cunt. Are you serious? And it is. They're trying to sue Netflix. Because, you should have warned us it was going to be this popular. Our network can't take it. And I'm thinking, well, there's your answer right there. It's your shitty network.
Yep.
You know, I think as a counter-sue, the public should be suing them for having a shit network.
Haven't Korea got a cracking internet over there?
Apparently so, yes. But you have a look it up and just, Netflix, the Squid Game company sues them. Just take a look at it, and you'll there is the story about the telecom company trying to sue Netflix because they didn't warn them the show was going to be this popular. I'm thinking, fuck off, seriously, just fuck off. Do you know when there are some people, right, that just really need to be shaken. And it's the fucking board of that company. Every single one of them, just shake them, shake some sense into them.
Just give them a good damn shake. Yeah,
they're fucking right. Yes,
cool. They've had a decade of rinsing people for internet, and all of a sudden now they have like 6 months of people taking it back. I don't think so. Screw them losers.
It's funny. Exactly. It's funny how that works. It seems to happen a lot with companies. That it's like as long as you're giving them money for a piss poor service, it's like, well, it's tough luck. You pay your money, you take your choice. And then 5 minutes later, it's like, oh no, hang on. You're costing us money. No, this is illegal. No, you can't do this.
Exactly.
And then you start getting throttled.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
It's one of the world's most, it's one of those sort of crazy lawsuits that they put out there. It's a bit like... I'm probably going to get corrected on this, but it's a bit like the bloke who's trying to sue Dave Grohl, Chris Kovac, and
the Nirvana baby tosser.
Nirvana baby.
Oh
right?
yeah.
It's taken him. This is like the album's something like 30 years old. I think it is. Yep. Right, and if you see the list of stuff he's citing, it's just ridiculous.
Like
right?
what?
It really. He's saying about loss of earnings and how it's caused him
loss of earnings.
Yeah, loss of earnings.
This is the guy that ended up on the cover of Nevermind, one of the most iconic albums written ever.
Yeah. So basically, what's he saying that having his winky exposed?
Yeah, he's accused him of child pornography.
Oh,
stuff
right.
Like
He has dined out on that on the last 29.5 months.
Oh, apparently he
or
hasn't.
years. hasn't it? And he's dying out of it. He has loved every single second of his life up until this point where he realises, oh, hang on, it's infringing me a little bit. I want some money back now. Oh, really, do you? No, how about fuck off?
Yeah.
It's like you wouldn't know him if you passed him in the fucking street. And it's like, so
Well, I
where
don't
are you
know.
getting
Does
this
he still
harassment
have? Does he still have little baby Winky?
He probably has, yeah. He's probably walking.
That's probably how he's getting. That's probably how he's getting
Do
recognised.
you recognise me?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me dangle me bits out in a swimming pool. You can photograph me with a pound note stuck to me forehead, and then we can take it from there. Oh, now I recognise you.
I can see him just walking Starbuck naked down the street. Somebody approaches him to tell him off, going, "Excuse me," and he'll go, "Yeah, I know." And he sort of like takes a piece of paper and signs it, and then hands it to him. There you go. You can have that. It's like, really, it's ridiculous. Dave Grohl has finally responded to all this, and I thought, oh, what's this going to be? You know, and he's just like, whatever will be, blah blah blah. You know, there's much more. I've got other things in my life I need to worry about at the moment. And he's got on about, well, I've got some ideas for changing the cover, and I've got some real cracking ones as well when we reissue the album. So thanks very much.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Bonkers. Ridiculous.
Anyway, copyright laws and infringements. That's what we like.
Yep.
That's what our week's been.
That's how your week's been. Anything else, Elton, by the way?
No, that is it. I've just been diving in. I don't want to go too much into Squid Game, but I think it's well worth people's watch.
Yeah.
And me and my daughter this weekend, when things calm down, we shall make it. Yeah, we'll be making some biscuits from the game. So
Biscuits.
yeah, you have. It's what's a Cadbury's
Cream egg.
No, not a Cadbury's cream egg. Oh, bugger. Why can't I remember the name of that stuff? Shit. Bollocks.
Is it
Cadbury
called
shit.
No.
Cadbury's bollocks.
Yeah, it's the
A crunchy. There we go. Crunchy.
There goes our fucking
honeycomb.
sponsorship right out the window. This
Sorry.
week is sponsored by
Thank
Cadbury.
bollocks, it's crunchy.
Crunchies. It's shit. Oh, great.
It's a hip and trendy Cadbury's. Yeah, it's Cadbury shit.
Yes. I will be making some honeycomb this weekend.
All right. Okay. Get your
That's
shit
the word
together.
I needed.
You'll be making some honeycomb? I thought, like, bees made... No?
No. They don't just sit there waiting
Bees
for...
make honey. I mean, what are you talking about? Do spiders make chutney?
Yeah, well, actually, they
What
do.
nonsense.
No,
You're
no.
falling for the lie of big honey that bees make it.
What,
Yeah.
wasps
Factory made.
make tiramisu. Come on, you know this.
Earwigs make a fantastic brie. I'll tell you that.
No. Bees do make honey. I've seen the plants. I've seen the bottles and that go along on the conveyor belts. And these little bees just scooping up and pouring it in there.
Listeners, if you want to join in, please go to facebook.com/groups/Black Dog Podcast and send in your insect/food product that you would like made.
Yes, they're taking orders right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can get your order on Just Eat.
Yeah.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Yeah. The blue bottle salt and vinegar crisps are just to die for.
Oh, great stuff.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, yeah. By the way, it should be noted in case anyone's got a complete sense of humour failure. We do understand that bees make honey, for God's sakes.
And the
the
stag
fact we have
beetles
to
makes cottage pie. So
The fact we have to explain that shows how bad the culture has become at this point. How low we've sunk.
we live in a society where you get warnings about not sticking your fingers into electrical sockets, Lee. Come on.
Yeah.
You have reminded me of something. Thank you.
Go
Thank
on.
you very much.
Go on. Then. Lay it on us,
Can I
Howard.
just say,
Here we go.
fuck you. Right.
Yeah.
Fuck you. If you're listening and
Yeah.
this is you, fuck you. I hope you die in a a bit of syringes, you utter cunt, because...
Do you know what? Here, I've got a clock that measures how many listeners we've got, right? It's got hands on it. And I'll tell you what, it's really cooking up a breeze going backwards with this little tirade. I mean, keep it going, because it's pretty warm in this. I'm enjoying it, you know.
Yeah. I can feel it breathing on my neck.
If you are one of the arseholes that during this fuel crisis, number one, people turning around and saying, oh, it's not a fuel shortage, it's a driver shortage. Yes, I know it's a driver shortage, but what's that creating? A fuel shortage at the pumps, you utter toadstool. Secondly, if you even think of during these queues that are outside there, which I was in because I have to go to places far away, if you even think about going to the Costa machine and getting a fucking coffee, fuck you. I hate you with 1,000 suns.
I love those sort of people when you're running to the train station, you got your ticket, you just want to grab a bottle of drink like water or something, and there's somebody ordering a fucking complicated coffee, right? If it takes more than 3 seconds to make, no. Fuck off. Out. Leave.
These are the people that normally, when you're in the queuing up for, let's say, on a normal day, petrol, and they go into one of these Tesco Expresses and then park at the tank thing and fill up, and then they go do their weekly shopping because they're a little bit hungry. Fuck you. But now, when there's queues leading back onto the motorway, and they're like, oh, I've just got my diesel just topped up. I fancy a latte. I think I'll go over and get a latte.
Well, I'm reading my copy of the Daily Mail.
No, I want a mocha. No, actually, no, I want a hot chocolate. Fuck you.
Is everything all right at home, Elton?
Not really. No.
Are you getting to sleep at night?
Wow.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I needed to get that off my chest.
No. You have at it, mate. Yeah.
Wow.
How's that counter looking, Dal?
It's literally drilled a hole in the wall now. It's gone the other way.
I'll put a sock in my Americans and coffee rant, an American-style coffee. You want coffee with 4 ton of milk and cream and chocolate and bits, and sugar,
Extra foamy.
and syrup and marshmallows? Are you sure you fucking like coffee? Have you met coffee?
You met coffee. Coffee's over here. Coffee. Say hello. Yeah, the burning hot one. Here you go. That's coffee. Yeah, you can think about it while you're getting the fucking 3rd-degree burns sorted out that I've just put in your lap.
Oh.
Wow. Coffee. Like that.
Oh, we haven't had a week like this for a while, have we?
It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah. I don't feel like my week's even going to compare. Jesus.
Just to
Right.
reiterate, fuck you.
Right. Cool. Dal. It's your week,
Yes.
mate.
That's my week been, but a lot less violent than Elton's.
Oh, well, I was going to say, have you been to any restaurants which sell you like chips on a shovel or something?
No,
Because that would just sort of follow it up. Yeah.
No, I've actually had not a bad week.
No,
not
go
a
on
bad
then.
week at all. It started off the good stuff started off last Friday actually.
Right.
We went to Miri went to Guildford to see Daniel Sloss in concert or should I say on stage. He's a comedian, Scottish guy,
Right.
who's very, very funny. Unfortunately, I can't tell you any of his act because, as he says, and it's true, any of his jokes taken out of context will get you put on a special list. Right?
Nice.
So I can't even tell you even the really funny stuff he came out with. But yes, I might tell you off air.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's available to our Patreons if we were still doing Patreon.
Well, he told one joke, and at the end of it, he went, "And that's why I've asked you not to have any recordings going on while you're in this auditorium."
Oh dear. Right. Okay.
No, but it is funny. It generally is funny. He does make a point with his comedy, but as he says, if you do any part of these jokes out of context with the rest of it, you'd have to do the entire act not to get arrested.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's that's the worst, because you're sort of sitting there going, no, it really is funny when he said about taking kids outside. Oh no,
yeah, exactly. Yes,
yeah,
yes. I can't. Yeah, no. There's stuff I would love to tell you, but I can't.
Just don't say a word. That's fine.
Yeah.
Moving on then.
But yes, I highly recommend Daniel Sloss if you can get. He's been around for a number of years now. He's been over in America and done stuff over there, and he is up and coming.
All right.
So so watch out for him. Very funny indeed.
Nice.
Let's see, what else did we do this week? Finished Archer.
Oh yes.
I was a little bit disappointed to find that was the last episode, the one with the submarine.
Yep.
In it and stuff. The Antarctic one. It was like, I thought there were more.
Yeah.
It's like only 8 episodes.
8 or 9. Yeah, that's it. But don't worry, that was a test out. There's 2 more seasons after that Netflix haven't got yet.
Oh, are there?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah. So
Because
you're
it's finally
right.
found its footing again, That's it. I'm loving it. I'm in love with Archer once more, so that's great.
Cool.
So there was that. Let's see, what else did I watch? There's a program that's got your name written all over it, mate.
Really?
Yeah, it's even got somebody on it who presenting it who you did you had to do some effects work for.
Oh God.
Right?
Hang on.
It's on Netflix, this thing.
And
it's called Attack of the Hollywood Cliche.
Oh God, with
Rob Lowe.
With Rob Lowe, yes.
And all I could think of while I was watching him is Rob Lowe's bollocks. That's all I could think of. And you sitting there with your fucking stylus and your digitalis.
Stylus.
painting his neck as out of shot.
Yeah. They just... Oh, man. If people don't know that, then you'll have to go back to the older episodes, because...
Yeah,
I think I've told that story far too many times, and at some point it's going to get back to him, and he's just going to sue the fuck out of me.
Oh, if I ever meet him, I'm going to say that. Yeah, know what? We've got something in common.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say.
My friend painted your knob out over an entire Sunday afternoon.
Indeed.
Because you decided you were going to move the camera and not adjust your underwear. You anyway,
bastard.
Well, I wouldn't say that it was entirely his fault, but someone had to move that camera.
Attack of the Hollywood Cliche. It basically goes through every major cliche in every major Hollywood movie, and it gives you the history of where they come from. So very interesting, very funny, and I'm going to find it hard to watch any film now without thinking of that program.
Hey.
So it's done in all cynicism.
Cool.
It's I highly recommend it.
Nice.
So,
and is that on what's
that's
that
on
on?
Netflix.
That's on Netflix. Yeah.
It's only just come out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very much in the same sort of style as. No! Sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I'm thinking of the films that made us, because there's more seasons come out of that, which I'm currently enjoying as well.
Right.
Nice film history there.
Cool.
But Attack of the Hollywood Cliche. Highly recommend it. It's about an hour long, so that's a train journey for you there at the most.
Lovely.
And the last thing I watched this week was a new film that came out a little while ago called Gunpowder Milkshake.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, starring Karen Gillan.
And Lena Headey.
Indeed. Playing mother and daughter in it. The story is that Karen Gillan's character is this sort of like literally cold as ice assassin. Right, gets called in to do jobs. She plays it very convincingly, and all I can say is thank you, Marvel, for letting her play Nebula. Because it certainly helped, and she's really good in the role, right? She really is. And she plays the daughter of Lena Headey's character, who basically disappears. She hands her Karen Gillan over to this guy when she's a teenager, and says, "Look after her. I've got this job I need to do, and I need to disappear." And basically, she goes out and away with it. Now, while she's away, of course, Karen Gillan's character trains up to become this top-flight assassin like her mum.
Yeah.
Right? And because the guy that's looking after her is head of this sort of consortium that has these numerous assassins under their books. What I will say is John Wick has an awful lot to answer for.
Really?
Yeah. Not because of the combat. Right, because the combat does its own thing. I mean, it does do there's slow-mo in it and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But it's the whole thing of there's this secret world. There's like places that belong to the assassins. Like
where you find out an entire town is basically a bunch of assassins and maybe a greengrocer.
No, not like that at all. It's things like they've got their own hospital, and there's a library as well where they go and talk about taking out books or changing over books, when actually it's an armory, and they get to choose weapons and God knows what else.
Right.
It's got some pretty big names in it. Angela Bassett's in it as well.
Right.
Let's see, Michelle Yeoh.
Yep.
She's in it. I can't remember the name of the other actor that plays one of the three librarians. So you'll recognise her. She was in The Watchmen as the Silk Spectre 1.
Silk Spectre 1, so Gina Carlo?
Yes, who basically hasn't aged since I don't know when, but she's just been the same age. Every film I've ever seen her in throughout history, she's always been, she just doesn't age at all. There's got to be like a picture in an attic somewhere of an older version of her just crumbling away, looking like fucking Emperor Palpatine.
Nice.
So she's in it as well. She plays one of these librarians that are sort of a kind of aunts to Karen Gillan's character there. But it's good silly fun. Lots of very stylistic sort of combat sequences, some very painful combat sequences as well. People getting limbs broken and eyes gouged out and what have you.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, I can imagine. Cool.
But,
and where did you see that?
That was actually on Sky Movies. It's a Sky presentation.
Right. And it's good fun, yeah?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. It's it's not a film to be taken seriously. Don't expect fucking Leon or anything like that. It's not that at all. It's very much in the sort of vein of John Wick,
right?
With a little bit more stylized action in it. But I really didn't mind that at all. I actually thought the slow-mo was actually most welcome in some of those scenes, so you can actually see what
the hell's going on.
Yeah, there's a fight in a diner, and it's just you get to see the expressions on like some people's faces as they're doing the fighting, and it's just Angela Bassett, her face as she's piling this bloke's face into a bar.
Right,
it's the expression she got on her face as she's doing this in slow motion. Had me giggling.
Yeah,
it's just really kind of violent. Really, it's just really sort of ah.
Oh, right. Cool.
It's that. So yeah, highly recommend watching that one.
Lovely. Okie dokie. Anything else?
No, I think that's about it.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'll just rattle through mine then. Which is really quite quick, really. The majority of this week has been the main thing of this week was the Mad Max style run down to Bournemouth. We're doing the we're doing this whole thing of sort of like checking out various universities before my eldest daughter Katie goes to uni, and the one that was on the main one that was on the list was Bournemouth. I just said Bournemouth, didn't I? So I didn't know, take a guess. So we went to Bournemouth and we stayed there for a couple of nights. And then we went to Southampton to check that out, and then we went to Reading to check that out. Of all the things that's probably worth noting is, apart from anything else, got absolutely freaking soaked because it just seemed like it didn't stop raining. It was like Blade Runner, but without the weather control. It was just insane at one point. Oh, and then some drunk guys trying it on in the hotel, which I think was a mistake. I think it was a genuine mistake, but you never can be sure, which is that my two daughters had a room to themselves, which was right next door to ours.
Okay.
And basically, about sort of 9, 10 o'clock, someone came and knocked on their door, claiming that it was, that they'd made a mistake and gone to the wrong room. And it's like, okay, first time, fine. And you kind of like, and then I sort of made sure the girls were okay and said, look, just lock the door, don't answer the door. If we're coming through, we'll basically text you and let you know.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But just don't do that anymore. Because, Bournemouth is one of those places that just seems to be populated by 3 groups. 1 is students, 2 is Hindus, and 3 is stag doos.
Yep.
That seems to be the entire population. So, but then about sort of like, I would have said about midnight or so, I suddenly heard the door someone knock on their door again. And,
okay.
But this time I was ready for it because and the guy, if you can imagine their door compared to our door, is 90 degrees to the left. So literally, it's like the end of a corridor, their door, and our one's like right next door.
Yeah.
And I heard the knock on their door, and this kind of shuffling about, and I just went straight up like a fucking idiot. I'm standing there in my pants, me fucking t-shirt.
That would frighten me if I saw that.
And I yanked the door open. And there's this bloke knocking on the door, and I said, "No, mate, no, you fuck off." and he was like, what? And I said, "That's my daughter's room." I said, "You fuck off." And he's like, "No, sorry, genuine, honest mistake." And I said, "Whatever, go on, fuck off." And he's like, he's like, but we're okay, right? And he's trying to shake my hand. I'm like, "No, mate, fuck off." And it kind of, the tableau kind of repeated itself, wash, rinse, repeat for about another minute, while he tried to get it through his head that I wasn't going to shake his hand, that I wasn't going to forgive him for doing what he did, and I was going to just repeat the phrase "fuck off" until he fucked off. So that was about the only thing of note on that, really. Otherwise, yeah, we wanted to go. We drove down to Bournemouth with a full tank of petrol, and then got, just about as we got there, we got into traffic, and then it was into this situation of me sort of panicking, going, "Well, we got enough to get down there. We might have enough to get back. Have we got enough to get back?" And then going in and then seeing one petrol station, listening on the radio, by the way, to all this bullshit. Boris Johnson says, just drive as per normal and do your fuel as per normal. And we drove around the M25 and down the sort of M4 and the M3 and the A3. And the long and the short of it was, out of like 12 service stations and half a dozen petrol stations, there was just one. So in 120 miles that I did, just getting down there, I saw one petrol station. And that one petrol station was limiting us to 35 quid of petrol. But meanwhile, on the bloody radio, you've got no, just drive on, it's all fine, says Boris. You fucking knob. We are run by gaslighters.
We are.
Just absolute gibberish from a complete haunted fucking waxwork of a man. Anyway, and yeah, so we got there and then, got the petrol and got home.
Did you get a coffee?
No, I bloody well didn't. No, but what I did do was check through their extensive range of birthday cards. And that's it, really. Like I say, there wasn't much of a week going on this week. I think the only other thing of note was I watched the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man again for the first time in ages, which was interesting because that was kind of like one of those, kids haven't seen this, let's watch this, to which the response was generally kind of meh from the kids, because it was all a bit too lovey-dovey, quote unquote. And
you should show them the old one.
That is the old one.
No, the old one.
Oh, the Nicholas Hammond one.
Yeah, you need that. Yeah.
One spliced together from a failed TV series, remember rightly?
That's right. God, I should do that, shouldn't I? That would be great. Just film that for a while. Just see what.
On that subject, I remember when that was out, Superman the movie.
Yeah,
the original Christopher Reeve one was on the cinema. Now, I went to see that with my dad, right? And it's like, I fucking enjoyed that. It was lovely. Great, fantastic movie, right? I was all aglow with it. I got into school, and every other fucker had gone to see that Spider-Man film, the one that was made up of the TV, and they were going on about it. And I'm thinking, are you all on fucking drugs or something? I've just watched the work of art here, and you've just watched somebody...
in his pyjamas.
In his pyjamas, pretending to be Spider-Man with, like, Tic-Tac cartons on his fucking wrists.
And they were so cheap, they couldn't afford or didn't buy a villain, so he's just beating up men in suits.
That's right, yeah.
Who did, like, was it bank robberies and stuff like that? It's always bank robbers, isn't it? It's always gangsters.
Exactly.
It's always the man.
That needs to go on the docket.
Yeah, what, the Nicholas Hammond one? If we can find it, we'll do it.
Oh, and don't forget, there's the sequel as well, the one where he goes to
The
China.
Dragon's Challenge, is it?
Yes, that's it, Spider-Man, the Dragon's Challenge.
Oh, my Lord.
I saw both of them in a double bill. God, that was a long, boring afternoon and a waste of my money.
Jesus, how much drugs were you doing, Jim?
Yeah.
None at the time. Drugs made it bearable.
I was going to say that.
I wasn't that bored again until I went to see Star Trek The Motionless Picture.
Oh, good Lord. But the wiki for that is huge. Anyway, so impressive, Star Trek The Motion Picture, for just how much time they could make an audience sit there watching nothing.
Yep.
So, the other thing I forgot to mention, we got two pieces of statistics news. As we found out, not only is the Black Dog podcast, this very podcast, is 51st most popular film and TV podcast in Venezuela.
Yes,
not only that, but it's now ranked at number 75 on the Apple TV podcast film chart in Pakistan.
Well, there you go. We have come home.
We have. And just to follow that up and really hammer home how successful we are, we're at 211th in Thailand.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. I'd like to say thank you to all three of our listeners, one in Thailand, one in Pakistan, and one in Venezuela.
There's an air of only fools and horses about this. You know, you've seen the side of Dell's fucking three-wheeled van.
London, Paris, and Peckham.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it sounds like.
So, so you're welcome, Thailand. You're welcome, Pakistan, and you're welcome, Venezuela. Hi to all three of our listeners out there. Yeah, that was it, really. That's been my week. Let's move on to feedback, because last week we did The Vast of Night. And now, hold on, I need to call up Twitter because I forgot about that one. But we had lots of feedback on this one. Which is quite good, to be honest. I was quite pleased with this.
Cool.
Yes, and it was... So the first bit of feedback was from Tom McCamberley, who said, when Lee was talking about acclimatising to horror, long periods of waiting for horror that lulls you into forgetting horror exists and then whammo, the moment arrives, it reminded me of the great scene at the start of Them, when the state trooper dropped off at the trading post in the middle of the sandstorm, wanders around for a second or two in the shop, then with the dust and wind howling, followed suddenly by an ant chirping and the trooper being killed shortly afterwards. In my mind, that stays with me. That stays with the trooper and the wind, and it lasts for 5 minutes. I'm always disappointed at how short that bit actually is. The tension from that wait is spectacular. Oh, and I meant to ask, was this film, talking about Vast of Night, set in New Mexico, right? I found it really, really green for most of the desert state of New Mexico. And what was bugging me was also the radio station name, which was WOTW, which is War of the Worlds. It's an acceptable name for a radio station, but not one west of the Mississippi River. Every Western radio and TV radio station starts with a K. Anything east of the Mississippi starts with a W. And I didn't know that.
Nor did I.
No, I think in that, he's linked, because I asked the question about that, and he put something in there with a link. You can actually read about it as well.
Yeah. He did do that. I'll hold on a sec. I'm just trying to find another one of the feedbacks. So, next bit of feedback. So thank you for that, Tom. And, I will look up the radio stuff because I didn't know anything about that. I always thought it was just WKRAP in Cincinnati or whatever the fuck it was called. Anyway, so then there was Chris Johnson, who referred to my story from last week, saying I shouldn't have listened to the soy sauce story while I was in the supermarket. I bet they think I'm nuts laughing at myself. There you go. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, what he's talking about. Oh, by the way, and anyone who's thank you for inquiring. Yes, they are still brown. It does stain. It does stain very much. That's all I can say. Yes, that's it.
Do you have a watermark? A tide mark?
Yeah, it's definitely got a sort of there's definitely something of a tide mark going on there. Yeah, I couldn't possibly get into too much detail, but it was a bad day. It's a bad day all round. What was I going to say? Also, we got a piece of written feedback from Scott Morrison, who writes in to say, "Hello, Black Doggers. I sent some feedback way back in version 1 of the podcast, so I'm so happy that you're back. Lee's anecdote about applying things to other things is a classic Metcalf story. The only thing that would make it complete is if he managed to work into some sort of DIY disaster into the mix, though I don't know how you'd mix home improvement with dipping your nads in soy sauce. You know what? I could give it a go. I'm pretty sure I could give it a go. Starting with Vast of Night, though, I think it's a masterclass in how to achieve much with little. I do think the final reveal does undercut some of the creepy tone established in the rest of the film, but not enough to ruin it. Overall, I'm very impressed, and I hope that the director and writer doesn't get snapped up by Hollywood to direct some generic superhero flick. Speaking of which, Lee mentioned a while back that about how the movie Black Widow felt like two different movies mixed together. Actually, it turns out that it's true. The previs of the CGI action scenes where Black Widow falls like 90,000 feet and smashes through things with no injury at all was done well before they'd even hired the director. So all the latter had to work with was really just the interpersonal scenes. Everything else was already on rails thanks to the House of the Mouse. So, sad really. But anyway, keep up the good work, Scott Morrison. So there you go. So I was right.
Cool.
I told you it didn't feel like the same thing. Now, there is another one from Anne-Marie, and I need to find the chat she sent to me. It was basically on the Vast of Night, and the long and the short of it was that she didn't like it at all. I think they did like... Hold on, where's my bookmarks? She did like 30 minutes of it and just said nothing happened, so I gave up. I'm going to try and find it. I can't find it. Oh, come on. I put save and everything.
There will now be a short intermission.
Albatross! Albatross!
that good work at the very beginning of how was your week.
Yes, exactly. I think, I'm just going to cut all this shit out, to be honest. There we go. Here we go. She wrote to say, Dear Black Dog Podcast, feedback for Vast of Night. We watched 27 minutes of it, and it was a barnard too long. So that makes it 3 minutes short, 3 minutes longer just by turning it on. Reminds me of the Joe Abercrombie books that I read, where it turned out I could have skipped the first 200 pages and missed absolutely nothing. Fuck that noise. Life too short. Love the podcast. Oh. Do you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. As you say, all that good work I did at the beginning, getting all through nice and quickly, and then I spent 25 minutes looking for the feedback. So if anybody else would like to send any feedback in, then do send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or you can go and join the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/theblackdogpodcast, or like Anne-Marie, put it on Twitter and I'll lose it and then have to scroll through a week's worth of tweets just to find it again because I'm an idiot. And then let's move on to this week's movie, the first of our Indeterminate Weeks of Horror, Jim's choice, Paranormal Activity. Roll the jingle. Oh, the naughty ladies. Naughty ladies are dancing. They're dancing in the flames. It's all spooky. Naughty ladies are dancing. Look at them. Alluring. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the second part of the podcast, because this week we are doing Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity is a 2007 American supernatural horror film produced, written, directed, filmed, and edited by Oren Peli, who I think did everything but sing the theme tune. It centers on the young couple Kate Featherston and Micah Sloat, who play themselves in name only, who are haunted by a supernatural presence in their home. They then set up a camera to document everything that's happening to them, and the film utilizes the found footage conventions which were mirrored in later films of the series. The film cost a grand total of $230,000 to produce. How much do you think it made after its release, Elton?
I'm going to go serious.
Go on, him.
250 million?
Okay. Jim?
I'll go 300 million.
Oh, okay. Darren?
I'll go 275 million.
Well, I mean, this is all very good, and to be quite honest, not too far from the truth. It actually made 193.4 million on its release.
Oh, disappointed.
Yeah, I was going to say not much of a markup from 200 grand, and and then it made a shit ton more on its digital release. And its DVD release afterwards, which it hasn't given me the figure for, but we got to at least figure that to be. Hold on. Yeah, it was released with lots of extras and an alternate ending. That's all it tells me, so that's not very useful. Anyway, so yes, we won't go through the wiki because there's lots of stuff on production. We are just going to talk about the film. And, yes, seeing as it's your film to pick, Jim, and I think we've all seen this film before, you will go last, sir, as it is your pick. And we'll just go around the table and see what everyone thought. And we'll start with you, Elton, our resident roast potato monger. What did you think of Paranormal Activity?
Oh, dear. This is a toughie. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at you, Jim, by the way. I'm looking at you. Feel me looking at you. Okay?
Yep.
Here are the eyes. Then mm-hmm. I'm looking. This is a toughie. Enjoy is a difficult word to put on this.
Mm-hmm.
I can appreciate it.
Mm.
I didn't enjoy it.
Mm.
Do you know why?
Because you
scared the shit out of me. And do you know what? This is the second time I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's going on. I know doors slightly close and then slightly open. That's it. I know where it... I know there's a big jump at the end. That's it. And yet, it pulled me in and made me stop it a couple of times to reflect on cartoons, just to ease myself out. Because, fuck me, I was petrified by the end of this.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. And so just so we've got a level for going forward on the rest of the series this week. These next 4 weeks. Where on the scale are we with the roast potatoes, the roast dinner?
I'm assuming we're going from 0 to 10. 0 being the Care Bears movie, and 10 being the most scariest thing ever.
Yeah.
I would say we're on a 9.
A 9.
Whoa.
Oof. Strong outing for Jim's one.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay. Cool. And for those of you who are new to the podcast, coming in on version 2 rather than version 1, this is purely because at one point we watched horror films with Elton before realising that he didn't actually like horror films. And at one point, I think it was Lake Mungo, wasn't it?
It was
Lake
yes.
Mungo,
Yeah,
yes.
where the famous quote was, "I just had to look down and be just a man staring at some roast potatoes." Looking down at your dinner.
I was trying to create a barrier between myself and the TV, and thought you can't be scared with a roast dinner on your lap, can you? You can't do that. Oh no, you can be. You can be scared with a dinner on your lap.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's where that came from.
That's it. You were just a scared man with a roast dinner in his lap. That's it. So yeah. Poor old Elton is our canary in the coal mine for horror films. Okie dokie. Well, then we'll move on to you then, Darren. What did you think of it?
Well, this is the second time I've seen it, and it still gave me the creeps.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to say, very effective. This is the kind of ghost story, or should I say, when it comes to actually showing you stuff going on. This is the sort of thing that I like. Subtle stuff where you notice something slightly moving out the corner of your eye. So, that building dread that you feel with something like this.
Yeah.
Even though there is at least one character in this that you want to slap. And
there's only 2 characters in the whole film.
Yeah, and it's not the female character that I'm talking about here. No, it's he needs to be slapped and told no.
Yes.
No, stop it, no.
Bad maker.
Yeah.
Well, that is what happens at the end, isn't it?
Well, yes. Yes, quite, indeed. And for those of you who don't know by now, we are going to spoil the shit out of this, so if you haven't seen this, go watch it and come back later. Yeah. That's your one and only spoiler warning. Cool, so overall, though, Dal, you're sort of thumbs up on it, yeah?
Oh, God, yeah. It's very good.
Cool, okay. For me, this is my second time watching it. Oh, excuse me. And, I have to say, I think I posted it on Facebook last night during the Facebook outage of 2021. And I think it's one of the few movies where I kind of felt really apprehensive about going back to watch it. So much so that when I was watching it downstairs, and then Carol, who absolutely hates this movie for the reasons that Elton doesn't enjoy this movie, she said, "I'm going to bed." So I immediately turned the thing off, turned all the lights off, went upstairs, went to the loo, brushed my teeth, put my headphones on, got into bed, and then watched it. Because there was no way, after this film started, I was going to do the long walk around the house, turning all the fucking lights off and locking everything up. No, fuck that. No. Yes, exactly, yes. You are my lucky star. Ooh. Anyway, so So I did that. I wussed out, and then what happened was I realised my mistake, which was that I was sitting in bed in the dark watching a film,
cosplaying the movie.
Exactly, cosplaying the
Oh my
fucking
God,
movie.
yes.
I've just realised I've literally put myself in exactly the position that the characters are in. So then suddenly my duvet suddenly felt a little too long and a little too dangly over the edge of the bed.
Yeah.
And all in all, no, fuck that. I mean, in terms of horror films, thumbs up. In terms of what it was doing to me psychologically last night, fuck that. And the one other thing I would actually just also say is the last time I watched it, I think, a totally different cut of the movie. Because it didn't end the way that I expected it to end, which made it even worse because it didn't end the way I was expecting it to end, and suddenly there's this big jump scare at the fucking end, and I'm like, no, fuck you! Fuck
this
off.
is the one I've seen before. I've seen the other alternative endings, but this is the one I've seen before.
Yeah, no, the version I saw was, I mean, again, spoilers, but the version I saw was from a screener when it first came out. So it was an original cut for the ending. So she goes downstairs, there's the scream, he goes downstairs, and then she just comes up covered in blood and then sits beside the bed staring into space for, according to the tape, for about 6 hours until the police come in. And then they basically just come in and look at her and they're like, holy shit, what's going on here? And you see them come up the stairs and there she's just sitting there. Anyway, it doesn't give you the title card at the end. It just stops. So there you go. So thumbs up for horror, but thumbs down for mental torture. Thanks, Jim. So there you go. So, but Jim, what's your pick? What did you think of it?
Oh, I really enjoyed this. This is, I think this is my fourth time I'm seeing it. So I first saw a screener cut, and then I've watched the Hollywood cut twice before. But it's one of those films I try and ration it because it is so very, very effective. I mean, I think the reason why it works is that it does that thing of it's not playing with the usual horror tropes, which are kind of comfortable. It's a haunted house movie, and it looks like the Addams family house. You're in fantasy land. It's fine. Stuff's going to happen, but none of it's real. None of it's stuff that you think might happen to you.
Yeah, it's a ghost
Whereas this
train.
movie, this is very much kind of, really enforcing in me and everyone else who watch it, why you don't sleep with your foot hanging out over the bed.
Yep.
This is why you shut your goddamn bedroom doors. You shut your curtains. This is, and you stay under that duvet till the sun comes up. That's how you do it. That's how you stay safe from the monsters.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, because I think what makes it work, though, the spookiness is just so. A lot of films go trying to be spooky, and they do it, we say, with the imagery, the cliched music, the jump scare. Whereas this really earns your fear by drawing you in and saying, well, this is normal. These are normal people in a normal house. It's not an old creepy one. But what I find interesting going back to it is that right from the off, there's lots and lots of clues. There's quite an involved story behind everything that's happening. And the first time, I think you miss a lot of it. And you sort of, it's just like little references and just the way sometimes they interact that tells you something. It's really, I think it's a fascinating drama about a relationship as well as a great ghost story, and that's what makes it work.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, we can get into the meat and potatoes of it now, but I mean, I think what's interesting is that point that's brought up right early on with the parapsychologist. The medium, the psychic, who says, everything's all right at home between you two. And she's like, oh, yeah, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. And there's this kind of implication that if it wasn't, that would make things worse. And so as things continue throughout the film and their relationship gets more strained, so the haunting becomes stronger.
Well, even before that, he asks, he sits down and says, what do you for a living? Blah, blah, blah. How's your health? How's your relationship? And Mika instantly goes, it's great.
Yeah.
And he's off camera, and you have Katie's on the sofa, and you just see her that kind of, hang on.
Yeah.
Do I not get a say in this?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a tiny moment, but that's kind of like, I spotted it this time going, yes, here we go. This seeds things out very well.
Yeah, it does. And it's that kind of like, I don't know, it's that kind of show don't tell thing again, isn't it? It's you don't have to have everything explained. You just have to watch it and just accept that you've come into someone else's life and things are just happening. You don't necessarily need to have them literally look at each other and go, well, you didn't come to my mother's house for dinner on Saturday night and I'm really pissed off at you. This is, or any of that sort of crap. So I really appreciate all that kind of stuff. Right, okay, well, I suppose we better get into it. I mean, firstly, I was going to address something because I noticed it on the Black Dog group, and I noticed it also on Twitter, and I also noticed it when talking to people about this film. And also, to a lesser degree, Blair Witch. And I wanted to know what you guys thought about it, which was, these films are obviously cheap, and they are obviously done of a style, your sort of your handheld camera stuff. What is it about that makes people instantly feel like they have to assert how not scared of it they are, or how not scary it is? Because I don't know whether it's the lady doth protest too much, or whether or not there is genuinely no fear in it. But I always find that whenever you bring up like a found footage movie, almost the group splits almost instantly. Not necessarily the Facebook group, but just any group will split between that really worked and I wasn't scared about that at all. It's absolute rubbish.
Well, I had that kind of reaction to The Ring, or Ringu, as
Yes.
Give it its proper name. Before I'd seen this film, everybody and his mother was going on about how scary it was. Now, this is a problem, you see, because, and this is why I don't like reading too many reviews about a film that I've been waiting for, a big movie like James Bond or something like this, I don't like reading reviews for those because every fucker and his wife is going to be gushing over it, right? Whether it is actually any good or not, they're just going to be gushing. And that's going to taint your view because, for me, I hear a lot of that, builds it right up. So, up to the point where I watched it, I'd heard so many people going on about how scary that was. And I fell asleep during that film. Right? Because I was just, my expectations were just so high, it couldn't match them. So I think that is another reason why people come out and say that. Because they've had they've read too many reviews with people gushing over stuff like this.
I mean, I would just like to point out before I go any further that I'm not calling out anyone in particular. It's more just the fact that it's just in general I find that's a kind of a reaction that we get. I mean, even like I was looking at like online YouTube videos, reviews of it, over the last couple of weeks, and I've noticed the same thing. You get either the horror aficionados go, it's a found footage movie, it's shit, didn't scare me, end of, or you get people go, that's genuinely creepy and well made, and I find it, effective. And I just was kind of wondering what that might be, if there's actually some sort of bias. What about you, Jimmy? Do you have a view on that?
Well, it's one of these sort of films do tend to divide horror fans, but it depends kind of, where you're coming from, what do you think a horror film should be? A lot of people want something that is cheesy, that's a ghost train. Other people just think lots of gore is where it's at. certainly for found footage films, I think a more insidious common denominator is that they make some people ill. Some people have trouble actually, physically watching and processing them, so they just take against them for that, which, fair dues. I understand that. But I think there's a thing when any film where it's found footage, when it gets its reputation of being scary, there's a certain amount of people who will go, well, it's not going to scare me, and it's some sort of misplaced badge of honour, but it's very easy not to be scared by a film. You just don't watch it properly. It's like a friend of mine said, I watched that Blair Witch on the TV. I didn't think it was that scary. And I said, well, no, I'm sure, those adverts for margarine and the new Renault clitoris really added to the atmosphere. You know what I mean? I think there's something about this kind of a horror film that it has in common with maybe going like serious dramas that you just have to sit and watch them properly, like you're watching a play. In a darkened room, no other distractions, and you pay attention. That isn't how a lot of people watch movies anymore now. Apparently, they're just sort of in the background, and people talk through them and willy-nilly, and. Well, do what you will, but, you're robbing yourselves if you don't pay attention. And in a movie like this, you have to. I can understand why people say, like this and the Blair Witch are boring, but if you get on board with the film and you can sort of... A lot of it, I think, is like the vast night. You have to sort of tune your brain into the dialogue and the way it's being told, because it's not being sound mixed and people aren't delivering obvious lines and speeches and things. But you get so much in these sort of stories where it's just like a drip, drip, drip of little details that build up, and all like little hooks catching in your brain.
Yeah.
But if you can't get on board because of the format, it makes you feel queasy, or you can't tune into the dialogue and you miss it. It is just kind of what nothing's happened. Boo.
Yeah. Where's the monster, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. And Elton, do you have any view on this at all?
I find them quite effective. I am the resident scaredy cat, but I do find them quite effective. Could it be... Now, is it a tiny bit of snobbery in the horror franchise?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's that. Yeah.
The way I mean that is... I'm not too sure where the found footage thing started. I always go to the Blair Witch because that's where it started for me. That's where I first learnt about it. And I was drawn in hook, line and sinker for that because it was all on the internet and they found these tapes underneath the foundations of this house. I was like, fucking hell, this is amazing. And also terrifying. But... is there a bit of snobbery with it? Like Scorsese and comic book movies. He's like, oh, they're not really films, are they? Oh no, but they make shit tons of money, though, don't they? These are made for pennies in the film world, and yet they still rake it in. And I can't help but think that some people are like, look down their nose on it a little bit. As if to say, I shan't be scared by this. No, this isn't a film. No, you want a real horror movie, like a classic movie from the 70s. No. Times have changed. These have changed. These have evolved. There are a lot of shit found footage movies, but some of the ones that we've watched, i.e. the Blair Witch Project, I know that was before... I joined, but I still watched it along with you guys. Borderlands, Hell House LLC. Look at Lake Mungo was there was a bit of that in there as well, wasn't there?
Lake Mungo,
Yeah.
And I just think there's a bit of snobbery in it. Now that's not saying it always is snobbery. Some people just don't find them scary. Like
I think that's snobbery just from across the board, to be honest. Because for some people, a horror film's an instant demerit anyway.
That's true.
Yeah, very true.
I think with horror fans, found footage has a bad reputation, or rather, because there's an awful lot of terrible ones out there.
Yeah.
It's subsided now, but there was a every man and his dog thought they could do it. You really can't.
Yeah.
But certainly from my experience, I think kind of, what I consider kind of serious horror fans, they do appreciate what the Blair Witch is doing and what this is doing, because they actually follow, they're closer to classic horror than a lot of so-called Hollywood horror, because these actually follow the age-old rules of the ghost story. I mean, both Blair Witch and this pretty much exactly followed the rules laid down by M.R. James.
Yeah, that whole idea of escalation, and the more you investigate, the worse it becomes. Yeah. In many ways,
let us see our characters go about their business, and the horror to be introduced gradually.
Reminds me also of Ghostwatch as well.
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah. That's the.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what with the Blair Witch and with this, what people misunderstood was what made them work is the storytelling, not the found footage format.
Yeah.
And people ripped off the format, not the structure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it is that whole thing of, you can... Any fool can pick up a camera and just wander it around going, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? And I also think it's got a lot to do with the fact that, these kind of, daytime TV, most haunted, straight to fucking cheap telly, fucking nasty old rubbish, everything's in green screen kind of thing. What was it? Those things have further undermined that style, that that you're never going to see the critter, you're never going to see someone getting properly eaten, or you're never going to see someone, taken away by the monster or whatever. You're just going to have constant sort of horror blue balls. Do you know what I mean? It's just you're constantly sitting there going, well, show me something, make something happen, rather than people just staring up at the sky going, oh, what's that? This sort of thing.
Well, apparently there's just a that's enough for some people, and there's a big market in both found footage and dubious ghost chasers, paranormal TV, where people will be quite entertained by people lit up green just running around in the dark screaming at each other.
Yeah, no,
No, I could imagine a lot of people going to see this in the cinema with all the hype around it as well. This is why I sometimes avoid stuff to wait for that hype to die down. But they would go to the cinema, watch this, and go, "Oh look, I'm a bit of a geezer. I can handle it. My missus, she's going to be pissing her pants when she comes out of there." And they sit there watching it, going, "Is that it? Is that it? She just walks up to the camera. Is that it? That's shit." No. There's so much going on, so much atmosphere being slowly built up, and because they're gnawing on their popcorn all the way through and just trying to kind of look hard and ignore the actual scares, it doesn't quite grip them. There's a whole story there that they really haven't seen. They haven't seen that play between the couple and their slow breakdown and the tension ramp up from that. They haven't seen that. They're just there for the scares. And when someone bangs on a wall, they're like, "Oh, right, yeah, jump scares don't do it for me." Okay, fine. This is a totally different thing. One thing that I noticed but didn't quite click on until you said it, Jim, it's not a scary house. It's not a rickety old building that they decided to, let's camp in here and see if shit happens type thing. It's a house. It's a house. If they'd gone to a Travelodge, it might have happened there as well. By the way, halfway through that film, I would have been off to a Travelodge. Fuck anyone else. Been gone. That's it. No shit is going to happen at a Travelodge.
You're on your own, love. See ya.
Yeah. Tell her.
Peace. Yeah. But I mean, I think that's the other thing. The thing that works with found footage when it's done right is it's that banality of the setting. You know what I mean? It's like whenever you see like a horror film, straight away, as you said earlier, Jim, the music's building up, the house or whatever it is just looks ominous from the off. You get that whole thing of, oh, look, the wallpaper's all run down and dirty, and oh, look, the carpets are all worn thin and bare, and oh,
look at this room full of dolls that look clearly ready to kill you.
Exactly. Look at this. Look at this loft full of tellies. You know, all this kind of thing.
Right. I thought we had a deal on not mentioning that over these next 4 weeks.
And you know, you get all those kind of scenes, you know, and you just go, oh, well, you know, I already know where the denouement is coming because, you know there's going to be a big showdown in the big amphitheater area and all this kind of stuff. Whereas in these kind of movies, there you are. You're just standing in someone's kitchen. It could be your kitchen. You know, it's a lot easier to sort of put yourself in the place of the character, I think, with these things.
This movie does it slightly different. With Blair Witch, I'm not sorry for referencing that again.
No. I think
It's a very important one.
Yeah.
But that is... the found footage is all handheld cameras. Constantly jiggling around, walking over stones, walking through woods and arguments across fields and stuff like that. And it's always on the move. This changes that ever so slightly. You have the stuff downstairs, and we're talking. We're doing the family type thing with friends coming over and the professor coming over, sitting down, chatting, normal stuff, zooming in, zooming out, moving around. But when it really is time for stuff to happen, the camera goes on a tripod. It's perfectly framed because you have the bed, then you have the open door, and you have the corridor that just disappears into the... I'm giving myself shivers. It disappears into the darkness. And that, for me, is perfectly framed because you're also keeping an eye on the timer. And that, when the timer's running fast, you're relaxed. You're like, well, nothing's going to happen while it's running. Oh, why is it slowing down? Oh, my God, it stopped. Okay, here we go. Now it's going to happen. Then you get that ramp of tension. And you don't know where to look. You don't know whether to look at the bed. You see someone flip over, but you might miss something in the doorway. And it's very clever like that because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that's probably the thing, isn't it? The one difference is, you know, I mean, because there was that film that Darren you brought up, which was ages ago, which was Chronicle. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do actually.
And one of the things with that I always appreciate that you brought up back then was the fact that you have a reason for the camera to be there.
Yeah, indeed. It was the guy, one of the people, or one of the characters who gained these special powers, used that to document their, and didn't need to hold it, which is why they got the angles in there and all these strange shots. It's because somebody was controlling it with their powers.
Exactly, and you get the same again with Rec. You know, they're a camera crew. They're deliberately supposed to be there, and when you put a little bit of thought in for the camera, I think these things can work really well. So as you say, Elton, you know, once that camera goes on a tripod, that makes sense. You're not doing that Earth to Echo thing of literally throwing it around on a fucking piece of string around your head at 100 mile an hour, which makes everyone feel sick.
You know, there is one other aspect of these films that I always found is a good benchmark to hold them to, or, you know, a test, and that's the acting and reacting ratio. So are they acting or are they reacting? In Lake Mungo, for instance, possibly the best found footage film for acting wise. In that one, it just seems as though, I don't know, the people weren't given much of a script and they were told to go with it. You know, and it's, if I'd woken up in the middle of the night with that on the TV and nobody said it was a found footage film, I would have believed it was a documentary. I think that also sells these films out. You know, that if you've got someone who just can't stop acting and just take it naturally, then I think that can kill one of these. It can take you out of it, you know.
Absolutely. Because that's the whole thing. You almost get that thing when you watch news reports where someone, instead of wandering past casually, you know, in a documentary, they kind of walk past and then stare straight into the camera, and you're like, yeah, you've just made us all aware that the camera exists, kind of thing, and that kind of kills it instantly.
And talking over each other as well. That thing where it's not just like you've spoken, now I shall speak. I've spoken, now you shall speak. People talk over the top of one another.
Yeah,
as well. There's that, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, I mean, we've talked a little bit about the style and everything, but let's get into the film itself. I mean, how do you feel it handled? Not just the character interplay, but how it escalated. Because you get that whole thing of that escalated quickly, you know. And there's a couple of bits. I mean, where Micah just seems to just lose all sense of reason, in my opinion, and lose all control in terms of how he's reacting to certain things. How did you feel like he came across? Because it's too easy just to say, "Oh, he's a dick."
Yeah.
Because he quite clearly is at one point, but it's just like, how did you feel about those two characters? Did you feel it was a bit too much, or how they interacted, how they worked together, and his ideas and the way he worked?
I thought they were good. I thought that his the other character in it. I can't remember her name now.
Kate.
I thought she was much better at being convincing than he was in this. I found her character easier to swallow than the other guy.
Yeah. And what about you guys, Jim? How do you feel they were?
Well, the thing is, I think this is as I say, it's a very interesting relationship drama. Because Micah is basically, he's a toddler. And he behaves like a toddler. And it's kind of, literally, it's kind of like, Micah, don't put your head in the blender. I'm going to put my head in the blender because you told me not to. And it's literally, he will not listen to anybody else. He's the alpha male. He's a day trader. He's got this under control. I've researched this. I looked at some pictures in a book. I know better than that paranormal expert guy. You know what I mean? And all the way through, there's lots of little things where he's constantly undermining Katie. He's demanding her attention all the time when her friend's over. He's bothering her. I wouldn't say this is a toxic relationship, but it's heading that way. You can see he could 10 years' time, when he's a bit washed up and he's starting to get very frustrated, and if Katie's still with him, she's going to know about it. Because he'll become the classic, what they call in psychology, the right man. This was a term coined by science fiction author A.E. Van Vogt about kind of why certain men are abusive, and he called it the right man syndrome. They're a model citizen to the outside world, but come home and they're a tyrant of a little dictatorship. Yeah. And it's because of any frustrations, inadequacies, anger is focused inward on the family members, but it's contained within his little castle, and no one must know. And that's the classic profile of an abuser. And this is early stages of that. I see that very clearly, and especially when I've watched it several times. There's lots of little things where he has to be in charge. He has to be focus of attention. He has to be the centre of attention. He has to be number one all the time.
Yeah. He has his little fiefdom and he will protect it.
Yeah. I mean, his character is a problem for a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it must be a shock to some of you, but, movies aren't some sort of screening service for people you want in your social circle. He's the bad guy, So going, I hated Micah. It's like saying, that Darth Vader, he was a bit baity, wasn't he? It's kind of, he's a villain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a bigger villain than the demon because he basically does everything wrong that sends and just keeps his foot on the fucking accelerator that makes that situation go south.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants it to go south, doesn't he? Because that's one of the... I think it is the first shot, isn't it, of her walking in through the door, and he's like, "Oh, you bought one of them, did you?" Yeah. You know they've clearly had a conversation of, yes, I have this thing, and we're already at phase 3 when we get the camera turned on, and he wants to take it up to phase 5, and it's slow and methodical, though, isn't it? Because as soon as they start bickering with each other, then things in the house start escalating, and then that causes them to bicker more, and it's just spiraling out of control. But he's, I don't think he's purposely well, maybe he is. He's just egging it on a little bit, isn't he? Because
a little bit. He literally stands in the hallway and shouts and calls it out at one point.
Yeah, and he buys the Ouija board as well, because that's already set up early on. Because, oh no, I won't buy that. No, definitely not buy that. Twiddle my moustache. I won't be going to buy one of them.
Yeah.
No, I'll borrow one off a friend.
Yeah.
That makes it all right. Kind of, you can see it's the classic kid thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was the moment where I was just like, I'm sort of like, actually, you deserve everything that's coming your way, mate.
Well, he's poking the bear, but he's not a bear. He's a fucking demon.
Yeah. Well, how did you feel about him, Dal? Because I know you said you wanted to give him a slap earlier.
Yeah, it's the whole antagonising the spirit.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You know this thing is real, right? You've seen that it can move stuff, right? So what else do you think it might be able to do, you plank?
Yeah. You fucking melt.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like blimey, terrible stuff is happening. Oh no, woe is me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I was going to say. It's probably the only bit that threatens to take me out of the film is that his actions, while stupid and childish and generally a bit, foolish, there comes a point where even the most diehard, Dana Scully style skeptic has got to just go, hold on, back the fucking truck up. Literally, I've just heard something that weighs 40,000 tons run up the stairs, invisibly drag my wife off into a cupboard and leave some bite marks on her bum. And it's just like, I know what I'll do. I'll get a Ouija board and call it out while standing on the stairs going, huh? You think you got some? Huh? Come to me? It's like, you fucking idiot. And that's probably the bit where I kind of like, I did it the first time and I did it the second time too. It's just like, I almost check out because I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I understand toxic relationships and him being, generally a bit of a dick and all this kind of stuff, but there's got to come a point where you just go, I don't know how much denial you've got to be living in to know that that's a terrible fucking idea, what you are doing.
Well, that might be speaking.
Just look at the world in the last couple of years and kind of, you got a measure of where he's coming from. There's a lot of people who would act just like him. In fact, other people have got an AK out of have shot the place up probably by the halfway point of the movie.
Yeah,
we had a president who was asking, could he nuke a hurricane not so long ago?
That's true. Yeah, if Micah had survived, chances are he would probably at this point be outside saying, that masks infringe on his human rights.
Yeah,
yeah.
And that the election was stolen.
Yes, more than likely. A little bit of politics. We haven't had that in at least an hour.
I don't know whether it was made with an audience in mind, but it could also be where you have Micah calling out the demon. That could be talking to that jock in the cinema audience going, yeah, that's exactly what I would be doing. That's getting them to relate to it. But I don't know if that's more forward thinking or that I'm giving it credit for.
Well, it's not. Wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility, because there is the two-hander, and so she is both the victim and the voice of reason, and he's kind of like the dick, as Jim says, the toddler wandering around with the fucking camera. But the bit that I'm going to stop ragging on him in a minute, because otherwise it's just going to be me ragging on Mika. But the one bit that I thought, now you are beyond foolish, which was the bit when he did the is it the EMF tests?
The EVA.
EVA,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
Sorry, EVA. And he does the EVA test, and he goes, "Do you want me to get the Ouija board?" And he hears, and it's just like, and he goes, "Oh, so you want to talk now, do you, you son of a bitch?" He's like, "Oh my God." You fucking idiot. You literally have just had a response from the other side that you have recorded yourself on your own in a bedroom, and then it's gone, "Give me a Ouija board." The one thing that the bloody parapsychologist literally told you not to do, and he's like, "Yeah, nobody's going to tell me what to fucking do." Like, Jesus H. Christ. I was like, you are an absolute brain-dead shit, Gibbon.
And for all the podcasters out there as well, did you see what the program he was using?
Oh, yes, he was using Audacity, wasn't he? Yeah, I wasn't going to say
that. Took me out of the movie, and I was like, yes, thank you for taking me out of the movie for that second. That was brilliant.
That took you out the movie, or the professional audition.
That's what I've been using for the last 10, 12 years.
Yeah, okay. Well, just remember, hold on a second, everyone. If we just go quiet for a second.
No. I'm refusing to go quiet. There will be no silences during this episode.
Let's just see if we can just pick up something. If we just all go quiet for a sec. No. Well, never mind. We'll hear it when we play back. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Don't forget the bread. What was that?
Yeah, what was that? Don't forget to take the pork chops out the freezer. Hello, Alan. This is Alan. Yeah, welcome to the Black Talk ASMR podcast. I'm just going to crumple some crisps now.
This is Radio 9. Is there anybody out there listening?
I don't want to make any loud noises, otherwise the lions will come back. Anyway, right, so let's get into the other bit. I mean, what is there a moment where finally, despite your best intentions to not be disturbed or scared, where your brain just checks out and you're like, right, thanks, that's it, the film's got me now?
Ooh, yeah, it's a bit where a door just moves from one side to the other. And
really?
That's me. From that moment, it's funny. Small things like that can really put the hairs up on my arms and stuff.
Yeah?
Or you hear an unexpected noise.
Nice.
That for me, the film just works in general. It really, really does.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As soon as it happens. Okay. What about you then, Elton? What point did you immediately check out?
I think the first time I watched it, I'm like you, Darren. That door just slowly moving. It's like, oh fuck!
We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
Yeah. It's getting real, and it's just moving like a couple of inches. But you're like, fucking hell, that door moved.
Can I just say also, I did like the way the actual the tactics of the spirit. It did the whole divide and conquer thing, and just wore them down to the point where they were just ripe, or at least Kate was ripe for the picking.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
That.
Yeah.
I think this time I'm trying to remember what order it all comes in. The powder on the stairs and the footprints.
Oh, the footprints are just like, that's genius.
Yeah, that's great. Oh my, I'm getting shivers again. I'm looking over my shoulder and everything. And the drag as well.
The drag, yeah.
But I think, I'm not too sure what comes first. I think the footprints come first, don't they?
The footprints come first.
Yeah, that's good. That's so good. Like 3-toed feet as well. Like, oh my God, what the fuck was that?
I think the worst bit about that thing with the feet is the moment where they realise that the steps are going in but not coming out, and it's still in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the moment where it's just like, oh my God. It's literally standing right there, and you're all having a conversation, and the thing is fucking there, and you suddenly see the hair on the side, one side of her face, just suddenly brush. It just suddenly moves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, oh fuck you! I'm already getting shivers now.
Yeah.
And
Can we stop?
Yeah. So next week we're doing Mary Poppins.
it's it scenes like that where they're they know the spirit is there at the end of the bed, and you've got Kate leaning over right into it. That makes me think of that Eddie Murphy sketch that he did on one of his concerts, where he talks about the difference between
white people in horror films,
white films, people, and like the difference between them and how a black person, a black family would handle that. And it's like they go in. Oh, look at this house, honey! It's great. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. Look at this. We've got a boat lock here, and we've got a great garden. Leave. Too bad we can't stay.
Yeah.
It's just like they would have been out of there. It was flash like Eddie Murphy's like, I'm packing my bag.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Jim? What was your bit? Did you have a moment where you finally, even the mighty Jim powers of horror understanding?
For me, it's the shadow on the door.
Oh, there's that bit as well.
Oh God, I'm hating the thought of that already.
That's just so well done, and it's just kind of, oh my God. But another thing that is not actually a scary moment, but it's one that I remember when I first saw it, really hit me. It always gives me a shiver. It's when the parapsychologist guy comes back, and he comes in the door and he just has that reaction. He goes, "I can't be here."
Yeah. I need to leave.
And normally, sort of these guys, ghost hunters and mediums and psychics, they're all kind of, this house is cleansed. They're all kind of, I've totally got this. But for to have that kind of character come in and go, fuck no, I'm away. This is out of control. That's kind of, oh shit, that's really bad. That's really bad.
Yeah. Things
have marbles.
This has all gone south very, very quickly. Yeah.
I leave you kids for 2 minutes, and what have you done? It's a fucking mess round here.
Yeah, exactly. What's that? That is clearly the burn marks of a Ouija board. You've left it here. Don't lie to me. Don't fucking lie. That's it. Oh, if you can't help yourself, I'm leaving. Yeah, for me, I tell you, the thing that does it for me, and it's always worked for me, these kind of things, is it's the house sounds. And the one thing I've always hated, in my parents' house, in my parents' second house, in the first house I moved into, when you're not used to a sound in a house and you're the only one awake, doesn't matter whether it's a creak on the stairs or the boiler coming on downstairs or whatever, if it's an unknown sound, you just get that cold feeling of, what the fuck was that? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to know what the fuck that was, but I'm the only one who can deal with what the fuck that was. And I've always had that cold dread moment whenever I hear a noise, even to this day. I mean, I'm a 50-year-old man, but if I go upstairs and a fucking fox has a fucking shag session out in my garden as I'm walking up the stairs, you can get damn well guarantee I will get the next 4 stairs in a single leap. That will fucking happen. There is no two ways about that. And so when I'm watching this film, and there's that whole thing, not the doors. The doors didn't bother me so much, but the bit of hearing something coming up the stairs, and you're just looking down the dark stairwell, so you know that you're going to see something any second now, and your brain's not seeing it, and it just goes dum, 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 and it's that's the ultimate fear of hearing something coming up the stairs, and you know it's coming up the stairs. But the worst bit of all was when the hall light at the very end of the hall comes on, and then goes off, and it's just like, that's it. It's clearly in the house. It has control. It can move things. Fuck that. Peace out. My love, I'm very sorry I did anything with the Ouija board. I'm not going to antagonise it any further. I'm going to throw the camera away, and we are going to move to a Holiday Inn. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
What I like about it, though, is it does change it. And you have the dum, dum, dum up the stairs. But then later, you have it running up the stairs and slamming the door.
Yeah.
You're like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
It gets more powerful because the sound design, I think, in this movie is phenomenal. Because in the early scenes, just before something happens, you get this low rumble.
That's sort of
And that
subharmonic
becomes,
thing,
and that gets sort of bigger and stronger, and that's an indication, A, it's coming, and how strong it is.
Yeah, I think also it's a great way to sort of ease you into it, because I think, and I was thinking about this last night. Yeah, don't do that, thanks. That when, okay, is everyone just banging doors or what the fuck? So thing is, when you first hear it coming up the stairs slowly and doing all those things, it's just like, okay, that's freaking me out. So when it finally does do the run up the stairs, the doors slam, everyone's screaming, it's all going like nuts, you buy into it. Whereas I think if it had just gone from 0 to doors slamming and fucking, full poltergeist kind of affair, I think I probably wouldn't have been into it. I would have just gone, yeah, it's just another ghost story, ooh. But it's the fact that it really takes its time to build that up, and you feel like you're spending hours watching nothing, but what you're really doing is you're actually watching an awful lot subtly change. And I think that's the real key. Is it's like lowering yourself into a really hot bath. You kind of like, okay, so the door moved. Okay, oh, there was a creak on the stairs. Okay, fine. Oh, the lampshade wobbled a bit, and then by the end of it, your main character's girlfriend is just sitting in the garden, sort of talking gibberish, and you're like, oh no, I'm not good with this. No, this is not good. Especially when you go out in the garden, nothing fucks me up more than going out into a completely black wilderness. Just no. Turn on the fucking lights. Turn all the lights on. Your house has to look like Blackpool Illuminations if you had a power surge. Yep. That's the only way I'm going even 5 feet out of that door. Just fuck that noise. But I was going to ask you guys, I mean, this film obviously shows you next to nothing. I mean, it does, doesn't it? I mean, it shows you there's the flower feet and the
Flower feet. Is that his name?
Yeah, flower feet. And then, dragging it off, dragging off Katie and all this kind of thing. But it never really does show you a monster. However, right at the very end, we get the boo moment. Yeah? Mm-hmm. With Katie at the camera, rawr, kind of thing. How do we feel about this?
Well, it has been hinted at earlier on with the website that he found with the other woman, and she gnawed her arm off or something. I couldn't quite work out what that was exactly about, but you see like a demented face there. You're like, that is gonna bite me in the arse, isn't it? And I apologise if I keep swearing about this, but it's because I'm so nervous and agitated about it. It just creeps me out.
Mm.
But I don't know what to expect. It has that... I don't like the overextended faces. That is a thing that really does scare me. It just
Right.
It's just a normal face. Please don't get any ideas for other movies.
No.
But it is a thing that makes me uneven. And seeing that at the very end, that's your last shot. It's just, oh my God. I'm finding it hard to explain it, but it gives me the absolute heebie-jeebies.
It's that uncanny valley thing again, but taken to the extreme, isn't it?
Yeah. I know it's like the climax of the movie, but there's so much going on in that last 5 minutes with slams and bangs and her just standing over the bed. It's really well done. I'd love to know how they did that, whether she did actually just stand there for an hour or so. But that's the lull, but it's also a creepy lull, isn't it? As well.
Yeah.
And at that point, we've been safe with the time ticking over. And now we have this woman stood there rocking backwards and forwards ever so slightly. Like, what the hell is going on? Now we're in a safe zone, which we thought was safe, but something's happening. So now you don't know. It's very clever in that way.
Yeah. Well, it's the same old thing, isn't it? It's like, whenever you watch a scary film or whenever you see something scary, your bed is the ultimate safe space, isn't it? You are under the duvets, you're hiding, which is why when it happens when that gets violated, so to speak, in films like The Grudge and in The Sixth Sense, you get those moments of kind of like, oh, hiding under a duvet does not help you. Those have real serious kind of like oof moments. I mean, what about you, Dale? I mean, that ending, with her kind of leaping at the screen with the face kind of distending business, did that work for you, or was that a bit of a CG cop out?
No, I thought it worked. Personally, it's still kind of made me jump, even though I've seen it loads of times, and that's the part of the great book of Hollywood cliches. An ending like that, and it actually was on something similar along those lines. I think it was on that program, but it does work for me.
Yeah, Jim.
It's one I didn't like it the first time I saw it. I preferred the screener cut ending, but I've warmed to it. I still think you didn't need the distended face right at the end. Just her lunging at the camera and just blurring, and it suddenly cutting out and having like her making like an animal sound would be scary enough. So I do like the way she kind of just pads in almost like a big cat.
Yeah, and then sniffs over,
almost sniffs the body, and it is kind of, oh my God, this has gone badly south now.
Yeah, we're not looking at Katie anymore. We're looking at the demon, aren't we? Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fairly subtle effect, but I don't think you needed it. I think you could have done that without the face altering.
Yeah,
but that's just me. But it does work, and it is an iconic ending, I think.
Yeah, I think I mean, for me, I as I said, I saw the screener cut first, and this version, seeing it the first time, yes, it did make me jump. But I felt when it made me jump, it was a cheat. Do you know what I mean? I've always mentioned it before in horror movies that it does the quiet bang. And you're jumping at the bang. You're not jumping at the scare that the bang's caused. Or, and I felt, watching that, I just felt like, I was thinking, oh God, I don't like this. When she's like, as you say, sniffing over the body. But then when it kind of goes for the sort of like, well, I tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of, do you remember those in the early days of the internet when it said, "Oh, watch the dot walk around the maze," and you watch the dot walking around the maze, and then it flash up a frame from like The Exorcist or something, and go rah, and you'd be like, "Oh fuck!" But when you were looking at the picture afterwards, you're like, "Yeah, it's The Exorcist, isn't it?" But what made you jump was it screaming at you and the thing suddenly appearing. It wasn't actually a scary image, and it wasn't a scary sound. It was just startling rather than scary. And to me, that, again, I didn't appreciate it. I just sort of, I've watched it and I went, yeah, okay. We didn't need to do that, as you say, Jim. I would have been much happier if she went downstairs, scream, shout, bang, Mika comes flying up the fucking stairs and dies, whatever, and just leave it there. That would have been just as effective. I mean, that's the Blair Witch thing, isn't it? You know, Josh, what's going on? And then all of a sudden the camera just goes dumph, and you're like, did I see something? Did something happen?
Yeah, but I thought that was great. That was the punchline, and that was just beautifully played.
Exactly. And so I thought that was the one misstep that this film did, and I think that's because, we've said it before, you know, I like horror films where your imagination is doing the work, doing the heavy lifting. And if it suddenly just goes, oh no, you don't have to worry about it, here's a CGI mouth, it's just like, really? I can see scarier things on fucking Reddit / creepy, you know what I mean? Where everything seems to have a distended mouth that's 4 foot long, but, you know, and black eyes or whatever it is. But it was probably the only misstep of the film, I think, really. But yeah, I mean, how else do you guys think it would have played out? I mean, would you have liked to have seen them resolve the problem rather than just, you know, Mika dying, or is that just going one step too far? Would you have, or would you just happy with it?
This film, I think it played it quite well. I think it leaves it open-ended with the possibility of sequels. I don't know whether they made any sequels or not.
They made 5.
Yeah, I know. There's someone rolling around like Scrooge McDuck in their money in these films. We all know that. But it is left open-ended. It's very clever with like the loft and you know, please don't go in the loft. Why would you go in the loft in the middle of the night, etc.? But there's enough there. There's that story of the sisters. And there is a story built up that we don't know about. And I'm not asking for sequels. I'm not asking for prequels or anything like that. I know we got them both. But that I like stuff where you have questions at the end. And it leaves you with questions. You don't really realise you have the questions until a little while after when you start thinking about it. And that is where I get some enjoyment from this. And it leaves me with questions of sister, photo, house burning, what's going on? And after the events of this house as well, what happens after that? But, yeah, it landed for me. It worked well for me because of what it left open-ended.
Cool. Okie dokie. I'm trying to think what else I can ask, really. I mean,
you did you ask the question about an alternative ending, how it could have ended, yeah? Well, I think what we should have had is maybe, you know, as a way to really make it quite sinister, you have Kate sit up in bed under the, you know, obviously the guidance of the demon. She gets hold of the bed lamp next to the bed, smacks him over the head with it, and then drags him out the door. And as soon as he goes out the door slams shut, and then you just go to black credits.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? There's a number of ways you could do it. I think it just emphasises... I think that's quite a good idea. I mean, I just think it kind of emphasises the whole point that you didn't need to CGI the whole thing. You could have just creeped the fuck out just by doing some really just following it through and keeping it grounded. But there you go.
Oh, there's that whole thing of using your imagination. That's forcing you to imagine what went on next.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And a lot of the time, what you think is a lot worse than any shit that ILM or whatever can dream up.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, I always reference Alien. You see things jumping out of John Hurt's chest. You see fucking people's faces getting smashed in, but nothing's worse than blooming Veronica Cartwright's death, which is over a speaker. You never see a damn thing. It's just like, nah, fuck that shit. Whatever happened there, I don't want to see it. I really don't.
Over a speaker?
Yeah, well, you just hear her.
Right.
You don't.
Yeah, because that's where you see the tail slowly lifting up, don't you?
Yeah, and it's just like you see the tail move, and then after that, you just hear the voice, and hear the sound. And it's just like, that death there is 100 times worse than anything else in that film. You're just like, I didn't see a thing. But you know what? I'm kind of glad. Because I don't really want to know what made that noise.
Yep.
So, anyway. So do you think grounding the whole thing, grounding a horror film like that, makes it a better horror film? Or do you think there's still a lot to be said for having just like flights of fantasy and, spooky monsters and all this kind of thing? Or do these films work better, is what I'm trying to say? Do these as a scare?
I think you've got to, if you're going to, whichever one you go with, you've got to be consistent. You can't go from subtle to like that. You can't do that, because a lot of the time, and most of the time, it just doesn't work. It's like having a radio played at a certain volume, and then somebody coming in and whacking it up to 11, just for like a 2-second thing. You've kind of spoilt what's come before. Again, if you make the whole film about the spectacle as well, right? You don't go subtle, you go heavy-handed. To have it do the subtle thing at the end is a bit of a damn squid.
Yeah.
Stay consistent.
Yeah. Fair enough. Has anyone got anything else they want to bring up about this film? Because really, I think it was just turn into is what did you think of that bit and what did you think of that bit? But
well, I've got one thing I'll throw out that
yeah, sure.
When I reviewed this on my blog when it first came out, I did a lengthy piece on this. Since being contradicted by the official version in the sequels, but I didn't know it would be a sequel when I saw it. But the parapsychologist, he says, it wants Katie, but does it? Is the demon coming for Micah all along? There's a line in it when he's doing his research, looking at some pictures in the book. He says, demons, they're cunning, they're patient, they'll work for years stalking somebody.
That's interesting. So he was the target all along, and she was merely the long
she's the
game.
Cat's paw. Yeah, she's the long game kind of thing.
It makes sense, actually. That makes sense, right? Because I would not be surprised if you learned that in the past somewhere that dickhead had fucking kicked over like a Native American burial ground or something like that, taking a dump in a fucking graveyard somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, that would not surprise me at all. I was wondering about that because his involvement in it is too, shall we say, too focused. He seems to not want to give this up regardless. It's like, really, you could bug on out at any time, at any point. But his obsession is almost bordering on the same as what happens with Katie at the end, when he says, "Come on, let's go," and she's like, "No, I'm very happy here now. I think it's all going to be all right." And it's like, well, okay, that seems a bit. You know what I mean? That seems a little bad news. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, he's been like that all along. He's been like, I'm going to antagonize it. I'm going to start it up. I'm going to communicate with it. I'm going to have words with it. I'm going to call it out and all this kind of thing. You think, really? Why is he being like that? And then, if you reframe it in that kind of view of this, that's how Katie basically ends up. It's like, actually, maybe there is something to that. Wouldn't surprise me, I'll be honest. But as you say, the finale the sequels kind of shot it in the foot to a certain degree, which is a bit of a shame. Anything else? Anyone's got any other thoughts on that?
I think I'm done.
Yeah, okay then, fair enough. I mean, I will just finish with my bit, just saying that, I find it a highly effective movie, even with the end. And, I think it's going to be one of those films that will be like, I saw it on one website called Common Sense Reviews, where they basically break it down into how much sex is there, how much swearing is there, how much drinks, how much drugs, how appropriate, for X, Y, and Z. And one of the comments at the bottom of it was, this film is going to, I can see this film for children becoming a rites of passage movie. You sort of like prove your backbone, watch this film kind of thing. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that. Darren, you got any last thoughts?
No,
Okay.
except I don't think I want to watch the sequels.
No, don't. They're not very good. And that's it. Cool. Okay, well then we'll wrap it up there. Before we move into Pimp's Corner and pimp all of the various wares, Darren, it is time for you to reveal to us what on earth we're doing next.
Indeedy. So, this week, the film I'm going to pick, it asks the question, what if Superman went on the wonk?
Okay.
What if by, I don't know, some twist that Superman himself didn't turn out quite the way we all know and love him to be, as in, a paragon of good and whatever. What if he went completely the other way?
Okay.
And so the film that we'll be watching this week is Brightburn.
Okay, Brightburn. Interesting. Okie dokie. Well, I'm going to assume that you've seen it already.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okie dokie. Right. Fair enough. Elton, have you seen Brightburn before?
I don't think so. No.
Interesting. Okie dokie.
How old is it?
Couple of years old.
Yeah,
That's
I was going
all.
to say, it's not long. It hasn't been out for long.
No, I haven't seen this, no.
What about you, Jim?
Yes, I've seen it, yeah.
Okay. Are you looking forward to seeing it again, revisiting it?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was a hoot.
Okay. Right, a hoot. Right, okay.
Yep.
I will confess that I have not seen this film. I've always had it on my list of must-watch, but for whatever reason I can't even begin to explain, I've never got around to watching it. So this will be my first watch. I'm kind of interested to see what it's like, though, I must admit. Right, okay, so Brightburn, and what's that on? What's this?
That's on Netflix.
Okay, and that's on Netflix. Okie dokie. Just a quick, heads up. Do you think it's going to be scarier than Paranormal Activity, or is it just going to be a different type of horror?
Oh, this is definitely verging on the serial killer.
Ah, right. Okay, so we're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's real sort of hunting, stalking, torturing sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Real. Yeah, you think Homelander's bad?
What, in The Boys? Oh my god!
Yeah, in The Boys.
Okay, right.
Yeah, right. For sheer causing its prey terror. Yeah, the main protagonist in this, or antagonist, I should say. Yeah, he, He takes too much pleasure in what he does.
He's a dick.
Yeah. He is a dick.
All right then, right. Well, and on that note, we shall wrap it up then. Right, okay. So like Darren says, Netflix, Brightburn. That's our next week's movie for our Indeterminate Weeks of Horror. So, and let's just wrap everything up with our Pimp's Corner, and we shall move on over to Hypnagoria Land. Jim, tell us what's happening this week.
Well, I've just started what is going to be a 2-part show about the ghosts of M.R. James, of what inspired them, and all good stuff like that.
Lovely. Elton, what about you, sir?
I'm trying to remember now. Archaeology. I'm digging for answers in archaeology over at Shonky Lab.
Nice.
Very good.
Very good. I mean, you should write front covers for the Sun.
Yeah.
That is puntastic, mate.
I should be, shouldn't I?
You should. Okie dokie. And you can hear me on The Great Derelict with Andy Plastides talking about Arrival this week, which basically it seems to involve the pair of us kind of going, oh my god, this is amazing, it's really cool, isn't it great? Yes, it is. Christopher Nolan, what a dick. I think that's kind of the rolling kind of narrative, but we go a lot deeper than that. But you can find that over at thegreatderelict.libsyn.com. Right, okay, well that's it then. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And thank you again for everyone for listening. And take care, stay safe, don't play with Ouija boards, and just remember, lock up, turn off the lights one at a time. Okay? Did anyone hear that?
No.
That genuinely sounded like a kid. I was thinking one of my kids was calling out. Okay, that's freaked me the fuck out. Good night, everyone. Bye. Please don't be real.
Goodbye, we're leaving you, Skeletor. Goodbye, we wish you fun. Goodbye, goodbye, we're leaving you, Skeletor.
Oh, bollocks to it.